Hey, welcome to my home. This is Ed Colver. Well, I was like a art nut ever since I was a youngster, and all I cared about was art. And I was drawing and stuff and studying art in grade school, high school, and college, junior college. I never really studied art history. I paid attention to the art that spoke to me and learned about that particular stuff. Otherwise, you know, like, that guy's a great painter, but it doesn't talk to me. And I focused on what spoke to me as art, and all I ever wanted to do was do artwork. And I'd never really considered photography as an art form per se. And in 1978, an old friend of mine came by with a camera, and we were kind of shooting pictures around the yard and the house, you know, and I'd never worked with one before, but a few months later I got a hold of a garbage 35 millimeter. It was a Yashica rangefinder. A friend of mine told me it was worth about $35, so it's like $1 a millimeter. And I started taking that to shows and shooting pictures, and that's what I started photographing, was punk shows. Shooting black and white. It was kind of bleak and stark and austere and crazy, and that rendered it better, in my opinion. You know, from that art training, you know, I pursued my entire life, that I had a sense of composition. You know, I know how to compose stuff, and like, you know, if I was getting like knocked sideways in the pit, I'm still trying to compose a picture, not just shoot one. You know, I timed my photos to the rhythm of the music. I would get people when they jump perfectly. Like that picture I have of HR, he's like levitating, and the microphone's floating in front of him, and he's not going up or down. It was exactly when he topped out in that jump. But, you know, boom. There was just a very few people who were taking photos. The shows were a lot smaller, you know, once they started getting bigger. Like, you know, Black Flag drew a crowd of 3,000 in '83 at the Olympic, and it's like, holy fuck, this has changed, you know. I got pictures of them playing at Club Lingerie to about 30 people. You know, in like 78, early 79, there was about 200 punks in LA, and half of them were the band members. You know, it was a very small scene. I was friends with those people. I became friends with them. You know, I was going to all their shows and hanging out with them and photographing them, and I knew them all. You know, that's like, I was on stage like a lot of the photos and stuff. You know, I didn't have I shot all with a Olympus OM1, rather inexpensive 35 millimeter camera, and a 50 millimeter lens, which is akin to human perspective. That's what gives my photos you feel like you're there, because there's none of that distortion. It looks like what you're looking at. And I was actually, you know, 2, 3, 4 feet away from my friends, you know, on stage and stuff, shooting live pictures. I'm really proud of the fact I work with a lot of these friends' bands on their first album covers. I really like that. When I did the Black Flag's first album cover, the Damage album cover, they had wanted me to photograph Rollins punching a mirror. So I set out to figure out how to accomplish that. And I shot it at the Oxford House, this little 20s wood frame house on Oxford in Hollywood. So when I got there, they had a bathroom mirror, and I washed it, and I put duct tape all over the back. I flipped it over, I struck it once with a hammer, washed it again, and then, propped it up, set it aside, and then I took this bottle of red India ink out in the kitchen, and stage blood wasn't readily available back in those days. Now you can get it 24/7, 365. But I had the red India ink, and I went out in the kitchen and I experimented, and I came up with the red India ink for color, liquid dishwashing soap for consistency, and instant coffee, powdered coffee for consistency and color. And with my experimentation out in the kitchen, I came up with the quote-unquote blood. And the blood wouldn't be there if he just instantaneously smacked the mirror like 1, 2, 3, click. There wouldn't be any blood. No matter how bad he cut himself, there would be no blood. And so I made the blood and put it on his hand. It looked perfect, the color too. And I set him up and shot him. I prefer the pictures that I shot where Henry's eyes were glowing red from the flash, and they were amazing. They were so much better than the damage cover. Just red eyes glowing out of that picture. It looked incredible. They go, these are demonic, and it's like, it's called damaged, but it didn't get used, and I can't find any of those. Like, I'd pay $5,000 to find one of those slides. I can't find them. I haven't seen them for a long time. I've kind of lived my whole life on my own terms, and I did everything myself. Like, I've worked on over 500 album covers, and I've never had a published phone number. I never asked for work. Never. It's like, if you do good work, people will find you. It's really important to me, like when a particular recording or when a particular piece of art was done in context of everything else going on in the world. You see something and a lot of people go, that's amazing, and I was going, that's just a bad ripoff of something my grandpa did. And they think it's like some genius thing, and it's like, no, 3 generations ago a guy did it better than you. And that's really important to me, the context of when everything was done. A long time ago I thought, like, I want to do photos that, like, you could see a big photo on the wall and walk by and go, oh, that's pretty. And by the time you hit the door, you're never going to think about it again. And I wanted to, capture stuff that like kind of slapped you up on the side of the face, and you paid attention to it, and you remembered it because it was strong. And that was kind of one of my things. It's like, just taking another picture is like, there's plenty of those. I always aspired to create art instead of just snap a picture. There's a huge difference between a picture and a photograph to me. Who's to say you can't do it? If you tell yourself, oh, I couldn't do that, then you'll never be able to do it. And if you just pursue stuff and give it a try, I never was really properly schooled in photography, but I had art training, so that helped. But it's like, I'd learn from my mistakes. It's like, oh, fuck, I'm never going to do that again. I messed that up, stuff like that, and just learn from your mistakes. When you limit yourself, you do limit yourself. You think like, I couldn't do that, or I can't do that, and you won't be able to. Who's to say you can't? Go out and prove them wrong.